Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the lead seat. Today I have a returning guest, Dr. Theresa Carik. Thank you so much, Theresa, for coming back and visiting with us today. What we're going to talk about today is gratitude. I know that, Theresa, this is a subject that's near and dear to you. And so, why don't we just jump right into it? And first, what I'd like to maybe talk about is, you know, what do you consider a gratitude gap and examples of a gap in the context of a workplace or personal relationships or society at whole?
Yeah, great. Well, it's wonderful being back again. Love having these discussions with you. And I will say that part of this topic is very near and dear to me. And it's also it's a little deeper dive in the human-centric leadership. So some of the things that we talked about before on some of the podcasts were around really having empathy and connection and relationships
Mhm.
with people. And this is one part of that and how you do build the relationships with individuals. And gratitude is actually it's twofold. So we often think about the things we're grateful for,
Mhm.
right? And that's kind of easy. You can kind of sit back and think about all the good things that each of us have going on in our lives. But there's the second piece to gratitude, and that's actually the expression or the feeling from others
Okay.
of being appreciated.
Okay.
And that is where we often see this divide. And in a world where we probably have more than we've ever had before,
Mhm.
really to be thankful for, we have this discontent going on more than ever because of the busyness of the world in many ways.
Mhm.
And it is because of this second part as it relates to gratitude, where we're not taking the time, to actually let people know that we appreciate them or we're thankful for the things they've done. And then
Mhm.
if we're on the receiving end, we're not feeling that from others, both personally or in the workplace. And so it happens all the time, right? So, where, we do something for a significant other or kids and it's not somebody, making a point of letting us know that they appreciate it, or we see it from, again, these individuals in our life. Your significant other goes and picks up your kids from school for you so you could focus on something and finishing and not expressing it. Um, in work, it's getting things done on time, well done, handling something. I think a lot of times we think we're expressing it because we might think it,
Mhm.
right? We think
Okay. Right.
it, but it doesn't actually come out of our mouths.
Okay.
And so, and sometimes it's even just the basic thing of saying just the words, thank you.
Mhm.
Um, in the Western cultures, we often use thank you, but there are times when I will say it's noticeable when I don't hear it from somebody.
Right.
Like, and I almost say it in my head, oh, thank you.
Mhm. Right.
Because you do expect to hear that at least. It's a minimal thing in terms of hearing gratitude.
Right,
So,
right. And that word thank you, when I think about it, a lot of times it's just kind of automatic. You know,
yeah.
in some instances, we'll just say thank you, it just pops. But we're saying thank you, but we're not thinking about the thought behind it
Right.
when it comes to the thank you. But one term that is popular that I like to use, and I appreciate when people say, I appreciate you, because that it kind of resonates a little deeper in
Hmm.
me to say I appreciate you, because thank you is just such a common kind of term that we use to express gratitude. So I
Yeah.
totally get where you're coming from, where we may say thank you, but there's no meaning behind it. It's just kind of an automatic reflex kind of thought that we say, or saying something that we say.
Yeah. And you
Yeah.
have to be careful, even with the I appreciate you.
Hmm.
They can start falling into that
Hmm.
same category. It's like it just feels automatic.
Hmm.
And it's just like any type of feedback, right? We tell people be specific.
Okay.
So,
Right.
thank you for X. What did
Hmm.
you do? Thank you for picking up the kids for me.
Hmm.
Thank you for presenting me a report that was error free and that I really didn't have to edit.
Hmm.
Whatever. So the more you can be specific or at least
Okay.
give the context or the detail of what you're showing appreciation for,
Hmm.
the better off you are.
Got you. Okay. Um, let's think about scientific research on gratitude and the impact. What does the latest research say about the benefits of gratitude?
Yeah, there's there's really a lot. And with mental health and awareness, and again, this busyness of the world we live in being so top of mind, this little act can actually help so much with your physical and mental well-being. And so just the idea, the research actually shows that in terms of like physical health, people who practice this have, just report feeling healthier,
Hmm.
that they are more likely to engage in healthy activities. They'll do regular exercise. There's fewer, aches or pains. Um, they often report better sleep, which again leads to
Hmm.
feeling better.
Right.
Um, an ability to be more resilient
Hmm.
as well. So when you do come up to challenging situations, you kind of can roll with it a little bit better. You don't let it take you down as much.
Hmm.
Um, and then even your own, like there's outward benefits to it. So you often have a higher level of empathy for other individuals. Your relationships are usually stronger. Um, you're not as maybe like aggressive or again snapping, things like that. And so, just from a personal side, there's so many benefits.
Hmm.
And then you'll see some of these in the workplace.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
So, if you're having a positive attitude, it kind of, again, it just permeates
Right.
and others know it as well. And that leads to increased engagement, increased motivation, not only for yourself, but you're boosting it for others, which then leads to job satisfaction and retention and all of that. Um, and also better what finding better conflict management. That's another one that we're especially in the workplace, instead of just kind of digging your heels in and not being able to get through things or collaborate onto into mutually beneficial solutions. When you have a solid relationship with somebody where you're feeling like valued and appreciated on both sides, there's more of a willingness to
Hmm.
actually engage then. And sometimes what could be some very difficult conversations. And so there's just all these benefits for you personally and for others that you interact with, both inside and outside of work.
Okay. Um, I wanted to also ask about scientific research when it comes to the psychological and emotional impact of feeling unappreciated. How does that affect us?
Mm.
What does the research say about that?
Yeah, yeah, you could almost like, say it's almost the opposite in many ways, but
Mhm.
it's there's increased levels of depression.
Okay.
Um, there is usually your sleep is not as solid. There is, when say challenging things. I was going to say bad things, but it doesn't even have to be, quote unquote bad. Just when things that are a little bit more
Hmm.
challenging or out of your typical routine, things that for the most part wouldn't really trigger anything for people
Mhm.
when you're feeling already kind of not appreciated, not having gratitude, not thinking about, again, the good things that you have going on in your life. These little things can actually create such a downward spiral for you.
Mhm.
You're snapping, your day's ruined, whatever, it can just lead to a lot more, and it just kind of permeates.
Right.
And just not being satisfied. There's like a just underlying feeling of discontentment often with you, whether it's personally or professionally,
Right.
which just doesn't lead to real engagement.
Right. And maybe a feeling of isolation. It can take you to that place of
Yeah.
feeling undervalued, isolation, not feeling worthy, those kind of things can also
Yes.
psychologically affect you. Got it.
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. Absolutely. We all want to feel,
Right.
that we're of value and contributing,
Right.
having an impact of in some manner. Um,
Mhm.
that's why, like, it just isn't like even thinking about retirement, right? You've got to have something to focus on. Not
Right.
having anything is very challenging. We all want to be contributing.
Right. Right. Next, Teresa, let's talk about gratitude in the workplace.
Mhm.
So, what about recognizing employee contributions when it comes to gratitude? Give me some feedback on things that around that.
Yeah, yeah. So absolutely, again, in the workplace, when people feel like they're contributing and it's appreciated and it's being seen,
Mhm.
it has, makes it has a big impact on productivity and satisfaction. And so it will boost your motivation, it'll boost your engagement. People are most likely to be enthusiastic
Mhm.
about any work coming their way or challenges, maybe see it with um, a positive look that, any challenge that's given to them. You'll often see stronger relationships among colleagues. And again, they're more likely to collaborate with them more openly. And just again, we keep talking about mental health. And so there's this idea of, you'll be able to handle stress, you'll feel less burned out, you'll reduce that for you, just better mental health around the world and the workplace overall. So it actually leads to fewer sick days and higher overall productivity. I mean, the research demonstrates that.
Okay. Okay. And would feedback play into part of gratitude, giving feedback
Yeah,
and
absolutely. Absolutely. It's almost like they can almost be coupled together. So again, a lot of times when we talk about um, feedback, we focus on, constructive feedback and how to do that. But the same rules that apply for that, where you want to be specific and behavioral with it, apply to positive feedback and, which would be gratitudes. Again, it's thank you for doing X. And this was the impact of it, right? So,
Mhm.
like the positive impact of it, and you can think about it, even when you're giving constructive feedback, you can still show appreciation and gratitude
Mhm.
for whatever it is. Assuming that the thing you're giving constructive
Right.
feedback on isn't so egregious, but you know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's yeah, again, thank you for pulling together a really solid presentation. It was had enough detail and you presented it well. um, you know, in terms of development, X. It could
Mhm.
be something small, but you can balance it with it right there. But
Okay.
yeah, having the positive things to say and acknowledging effort
Mhm.
that's put in and things that people do, it opens up any type of conversation more if you have to talk constructively.
Gotcha. Um, what would be some strategies, Teresa, for closing gratitude gaps in professional settings?
Yeah, yeah. There's a number of strategies around this, and And part of it is first of all just like being the mindfulness on it,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
Like
mhm,
so being aware particularly in the moment of what's going on, being fully present, can of what people are bringing to the table, what things, the activities that are going, what the effort that it takes, and actually sometimes putting yourself in their shoes, just
right.
what I mean. We sometimes we
Yep.
forget that what that's like, and
Yes.
oh, it's someone new to the organization. Well, what's that like? Someone who's young in their career. Well, what's that like? Someone who's got a new baby at home. These are things that when you can really start changing, having the empathy, right?
Hmm.
Which then can change your idea around, being grateful for the things that are being done. So awareness, the mindfulness is part of the actual, like that's almost the initial steps around this.
Hmm.
Um, then just being really aware of how much you're actually verbalizing it, whether it's one-on-one, in a public setting. Sometimes I know leaders who write thank you notes, right? And that's actually very impactful because we don't do things,
Right.
right?
Right.
Written so often. And I'm not talking typing, I'm actually talking
Right.
writing something, just a quick note. Um, those go a long way. Um, there's, journaling is another one, another way to just kind of, again, going with your mindfulness around this. And I have actually done this journal. It's called Gratitudes, the choice to rejoice. I've been doing it for years, and part of it is stuff around me personally, but it's also about other things for other people, that I appreciate. And I realize sometimes when I'm writing, I miss the opportunity. I still go back, right?
Hmm.
It's never too late to go back
Right.
around it. So that's another, and with it, that's actually online. It's a journal that I use online. And there's a lot of like technology that can actually help you, whether it's journals or it's apps to remind you to take,
Hmm.
to pause. Um, so that's another thing that can help you. And I would say, another thing that can take some practice, for you sometimes is reframing situations. We don't always think about that,
Hmm.
but when things are challenging or not going as well, just like we were talking about kind of with the constructive feedback,
Right.
um, sitting back and thinking about, kind of rolling about what did go well, kind of maybe put yourselves in their shoes and other things, but what can you actually take away in a positive way, and actually express that and acknowledge that?
Hmm. Yeah, what I call even better if. So, yeah,
Yes.
other piece of
Yeah.
it, even better
Yeah.
if. Now, tell me again, you said the journal. What was the name of the journal that you said you use?
So the platform is Penzu, and there's lots of different types of
Mhm.
journaling, apps out there, but that's the name of my journal. So I
Oh,
call it Gratitudes, the choice to rejoice. And
okay.
because it's it really is a choice,
Yes, it
right?
is. Right.
To rejoice in the things that are good about your own, situation in life, but also about things for others. And sometimes it's even, I challenge, like, on things that you're happy, but you're like, oh, I wish that were me. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah, right.
yeah. And it really, it's, just a couple points ever. I start my morning that way.
I
So
see.
it kind of gets me, and I think about the day before, which is
Right,
sometimes when I think about, oh, I should actually reach out to that person and let
right.
them know this.
Yeah, I like that choice because choice means you made a concerted effort,
Yes,
like to rejoice with someone or for someone or to someone. So I like
exactly.
that. Yeah. And that's
Exactly.
a good method too, in the mornings or whenever you can have a little quiet, few minutes of quiet time to reflect. And in our busy, busy lives, it's like, oh, where do I find the time? You know what? It's 3 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
It
Like
is. It's
brush,
absolutely.
brush your teeth,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah, it's absolutely, it's just 3 minutes. Yeah, and I found doing it at the end of the day, I couldn't be consistent. I like
Right.
starting my day. And going back to like the word choice, it's like, it's because you could take everything for granted, right?
Hmm.
And that's the idea that when you don't think about it for yourself or think about it and share it with others, what you're grateful for,
Right.
that's that, right? That's how you feel. I'm taken for granted.
Right. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. And I think it also, in doing that for other people, it kind of will spark them to think about
Mhm.
gratitude as well, because
Mhm.
you did think about them and because
Yes,
you did reach out, in some
exactly.
way or another to show your gratitude to them.
Yes,
Because in receiving that, that for me, I would be like, how much I appreciated that. And that would make me, what the wheels turning about me thinking about things that, I'm grateful for, or people that I'm grateful for and appreciate.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's sort of like what do they call it? Um, chain reaction. That's
Yes,
what I'm thinking. It's sort of like a chain reaction kind of thing.
yes.
Yeah, the feeling.